Usain Bolt compete as a sprinter in the American women's Olympic team?
Yes.
Okay. You would let Floyd Mayweather compete as a boxer in the women's American boxing team?
Yeah,
you are a
you have to be
complete
like the
and utter
heavyweight
lunatic.
Piers Morgan, one of the most recognizable faces in the media, has had enough of woke culture. Recently, he has consistently been seen going after the woke media in countless interviews and podcasts. In this video, we will examine moments in which Piers Morgan destroyed woke culture in complete verbal beatdowns on live TV.
The rainbow flag has been hoisted over London's Regent Street in place of Union Jack and draped from the White House balcony in place of a Star-Spangled Banner, which has sparked quite a backlash in the States. Have we gone rainbow crazy, or is Pride Month more important than patriotism?
Piers is very clear on his stand against the over-the-top and forceful methods of the LGBTQ, and he doesn't hold back on letting everyone know how he feels.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Piers' frustration is his inability to handle the total erosion of mainstream media with woke antics, and his host didn't have it either.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight
Where's
everywhere?
my straight flag?
Why am I constantly getting
Where is
straight
my
people?
straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the
When
street?
have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why has Mickey Mouse got a
Tell
girlfriend?
me one straight flag
Why
hanging
are you
right now
pushing?
anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people
Where
pushing
is the straight flag?
identity
Where's the
onto
straight
me?
flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
It seems that Piers Morgan has had enough of the LGBTQ community getting so much coverage and is still demanding more attention. Next, we have this famous interview where Piers Morgan, for the first time in history, decided to reveal his new gender identity to the whole world.
Why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
Looking back at what led Piers Morgan to identify as nothing else but a black lesbian, we see at the beginning of the interview where his woke guest gave a logic that didn't sit well with Piers Morgan.
It's not an easy thing to do, to go out into the world.
It's very easy. Very easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
what
this
is
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides.
Apparently, Piers got the idea that according to the woke ideologies, the fact that it's difficult to identify as anything unusual makes it okay to choose any identity at any time from among the over 100 genders available.
Is it limitless, this self-identity?
It's not totally limitless.
What's the limit?
When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
Piers also stressed the danger in men identifying as women, especially in cases where they take advantage of this gender identification to get placed in female prisons, using the justice system for their own gains.
We've literally just seen a male rapist use that scam to get himself put into a female prison where he could attack vulnerable women inside a female prison, when even his ex-wife said it was all a scam.
His argument did not seem to shake the woke activist, so Piers went on a rampage of identifying as a black lesbian, completely turning around the trajectory of events and catching his woke guest off balance with his hilarious self-expressions.
My response was to say, well, if it's limitless, why can't I then say whatever I want to say? And you say immediately, as I knew you would, well, that's ridiculous. But my point is, you were being ridiculous. How many genders are there?
2.
There are 2 genders.
Oh.
Wow, so you don't believe in transgenders at all?
Well, I think there are.
Whoa, hang on, whoa.
Piers Morgan, after completely demolishing the woke guest, went ahead to reveal a new gender identity from amongst the 100 genders released by the BBC. And the second thing he identified as will leave you shocked.
But it is difficult, but I think making...
But it's not difficult until you make it difficult. You see, the BBC has done teaching videos to 11 and 12-year-olds where they say there are 100 genders. One of them was astrogender, which is an affinity with the stars and the galaxy. My response to that on the last show I did was to say, well, in that case, I identify as a two-spirit penguin. I was then told I was being ridiculous, but I made the same point. The ridiculousness is the BBC teaching kids there are 100 genders. There aren't.
Next up is Piers Morgan boldly defending J.K. Rowling, who the trans mob was targeted because of a rumor about her new book being supposedly transphobic and hence warranting death threats and online cancellation.
Which goes into great detail, which means that actually all the premise for why she has to be RIP'd is actually based on a complete load of nonsense.
Piers took this issue very seriously, probably because he was a fan of J.K. Rowling, and also because he too has been a victim of cancel culture. Apparently, he has had enough of what he saw as some kind of bullying and intimidation from the woke mob.
And all those who have been contributing to the RIP J.K. Rowling, they're the ones that want her dead, cancelled, shamed, vilified, finished for writing a novel that none of you have read.
Piers Morgan was particularly angered by the death threats being directed at J.K. Rowling. During the interview, Piers mentioned many times how he read Nick Cowan's review of the book and pointed out that even the guest who was brought to defend the trans activist has taken the time to read the book.
And neither have you, so you can't be sure of that.
I've read
And
a
the
very
truth
lengthy
is-
review here which completely repudiates the whole point of your position. Let me bring in George Galloway. George, this is the problem here, isn't it? This cancel culture.
Piers has always matched the energies of his woke guests, but in this next interview with an advocate of plant-based diets and veganism, Piers Morgan showed us a petty side that many doubted he had in him.
I don't like vegans very much. I don't think any of you are very healthy.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, I think you all look pretty pasty-faced and unhealthy to me, but that's your choice.
Piers began the interview on a very strong note. He wasn't about to sugarcoat his take on veganism, which he saw as nothing more than one among the many agitations of the woke culture, which he has consistently refused to identify with or acknowledge. Piers' stance against veganism and the protests that follow their agitations was clearly exemplified in this clip.
Right, wouldn't you? You'll go nuts if I came running into your little vegan hellholes and began screaming abuse. You'd all throw your toys out the pram, as you do on a daily basis.
I'm not throwing my toys out the pram right now, Piers.
Throughout the interview, it looked like Piers Morgan was intentionally doing his best to annoy his vegan guest, but it was soon to get worse, as Piers had quite a few more tricks up his sleeves.
What does it achieve? None of you make me want to change my mind. I just think, what annoying little squits. Honestly, I do. It's the same when you're chucking paint at Van Gogh paintings. It's the same when you're tying yourself to fuel pumps or hanging yourself on bridges and stopping people using Dartford Tunnel. It's all the same.
Piers went on airing his views while leaving the vegans speechless. Everyone thought Piers Morgan was done demolishing this woke ideology, but it was at the close end of the interview he brought out the biggest tool in his arsenal.
Won't need any of this gruel. Let's put that
Fantastic.
to one side, but I will have a bit of steak just to...
You didn't salt it though.
You see, all you've achieved is you've made me want to do this. Just
That's
eat a lovely...
absolutely fine.
Piers had pulled this stunt multiple times before. In another interview with a vegan activist, Piers ensured he carried out every possible actions to infuriate an advocate of veganism.
How does that persuade me, who already likes eating meat? Why are you going to persuade me by being a vandal? Don't get it.
Yeah, I think we're in an incredibly difficult position at the moment because we've been...
Why are you making it any easier?
As usual, he started with questions, asking his vegan guest why the group feels the need to use vandalism and property destruction to air their views to the public. After that didn't seem to work, Piers went haywire and did what he was known for.
It's total hypocrisy, isn't it? You don't care about bees being
Will
murdered?
you let me speak, Piers?
Huh?
Will you let me speak? I'd
Why
really
are you
like to
laughing?
respond.
It's not funny.
I'd like to respond.
Bees getting slaughtered and you giggling away like it doesn't matter whilst destroying buildings because you care so much about animals.
Piers' utter disregard for the usual protocols on television sets him out as a menace, and this is the image he hopes to have in the face of woke culture. An image that has gotten him canceled, but it's obvious he doesn't care. At the tail of the interview, Piers goes ahead to pull out a Big Mac, which he bites down on right in front of his vegan guest.
And my response to you destroying all these things is to have a Big Mac. Because you know what? It's a free country, it's a democracy, and I'm allowed to eat meat, and I'm certainly allowed to eat meat when someone who kills bees to feed their avocado habit, mine.
Finally, we have this interview where Piers completely went on a rampage on the issue of woke ideology, especially on the topic of trans athletes competing in women's sports. This is an issue for Piers, who believes that it is unfair for biological women that have to compete against previously male-identifying trans men who have taken advantage of their biological physics to dominate women's sports and set probably unbeatable records.
Floyd Mayweather compete as a boxer in the women's American boxing team.
Yeah,
you
of
are a
course you have to be,
complete
like, the
and utter
heavyweight, no.
lunatic.
I completely agree
Lunacy.
I agree with Francesca, and I'd go
They
further.
would
Actually,
have
Piers,
to
you always
transition.
Morgan's heated remarks on the views of his trans activist guests were so brutal that they became iconic in the arguments against woke culture. Throughout the interview, Piers refused to hold back on his strong views against the trans mob.
The idea you would let Usain Bolt say, I'm a woman, and compete against women on a racetrack when no man can compete with him, right?
Piers's hilarious expressions throughout the interview gave him away as someone deeply affected by the woke culture. He made sure his points were crystal clear, especially when he moved over to the issue of women being allowed to be homemakers.
There are many women who sit at home, by the way, doing a much harder job than anyone sitting here.
Because
right?
he has a responsibility.
Sitting at home, bringing up children is a hard job.
Very.
So why do we denigrate it by saying that's all you're going to do? Why can't you say that?
Piers has always had a strong voice against woke culture. His views have been both forceful and hilarious. But one thing that remains constant is the fact that his voice has consistently been heard on almost every issue that involves woke culture. Particularly on the issue of trans athletes in sports, Piers Morgan has always expressed strong views, mostly against the woke culture, and its encouragement of previously identifying male athletes who see the need to go into female-dominated sports. This has earned him praise from certain groups and a lot of backlash from others. So what do you think? Is Piers Morgan right to call out the dangers of woke culture, or is the movement a necessary force for change in today's society? Has the woke movement gone too far, or is it helping to create a more inclusive world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions on the impact of woke culture.